Yeah,
I'm actually
every day,
present.
every day.
Good.
Mikey.
You trying to get it over with?
Mhm.
I don't get invited to these things anymore. I'm off the email list.
I don't think so, but if you not get an email, then maybe.
I wouldn't have known. The Pender would have said something.
So the LAPC email along with 100 other different accounts in the county got hacked. So I had to go through and try to redo all of them. So I had to go in and manually build a list. I did not put you in. It's 100 other different accounts in the county got hacked. So trying to
Recorded yourself.
Hey, what are you doing? Recording. Hey, you get a video afterwards? Okay, well, I've got. Now, what I'll probably do is if you recognize all this reports that the stone was actually stolen, then we can actually work something on it, because they're gonna keep it up not that much. All right. Back. You think you know who it was over there?
Oh, yeah.
Just probably where they were walking. Is that one yours?
Yeah, that's my truck.
Yeah.
Let's check it.
Yeah,
I can see some a car over there. See?
yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, he's just going, that's basically what they're doing here. You see him walk.
Oh, you already.
I want to see if he's gonna do like the same kind of run thing that he just did there. Not really.
No, I'm actually at the call in right now. I'll probably be here for a while.
So they got in the truck, but now I can go back. Like I said, those things are clear to stage. I'm gonna go back and actually see if I get the whole video within there in his truck over here. That's the one that asked me about it. Let me catch him out.
If it's already over there, I'll just stop in there.
My car faces forward. I'll get in, roll the
Or
dice,
unless
and
you
just
want
chase
to,
them.
that's fine.
Yeah. Let's see, so that was 4 a.m.
I don't know, but like I said, it's, you want to
go back
personally.
Playback.
I don't like
I wouldn't
either.
ring and see everything though. I doubt it.
I didn't get anything on my way.
Rings are, I mean, they're so limited out at distance, especially in the dark.
Okay. That's fine, I'll just go over there.
Now that I know where to look.
Okay. Works. Thanks.
Were you running?
I was looking at right front door.
Which cameras was that?
My neighbors.
Oh, okay. What is it? Do you know what they have?
I don't know. Oh, it's vivid.
Okay.
Mike.
Bill. What are you doing?
Bill?
Did you get my message?
I did.
Okay, cool. Am I okay?
Yeah,
They come in the middle?
as long as it's in the middle, I don't know how long it's gonna last, so we'll see.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'll do my, I think they'll let me do my presentation first. I'm just two rooms down. so
Okay.
or one room down.
Yeah, we'll see if we can all of that.
And I don't mind, I don't see any of the guys yet, but giving out the information, just giving it to them.
Okay. And is it for, mostly for the fire department?
It is.
And Alan is on the way.
Okay.
He's in Gruber or something, so he's on his way, but.
What
Zeb
about
said he would be here.
Tim
Tim is supposed to be here.
and then Seth?
Hey, what's up? Zeb is supposed to be here.
Good, how are you?
Okay, so these
Good.
things are one
Good.
each for them and
Watching
then whatever,
videos.
however many they want of these to give out. So that's what
Mike's
I'm
got
gonna go over.
videos
Is
and
this
I
a
got
bad-
videos. Two different
With them, so,
nights.
Okay.
And of course, you
I
are
have
out
cards,
come
just
too.
gotta
I
go.
would love for you and your wife.
Just checking door handles.
So I'm gonna have Terry on come up after lunch and.
Yeah, it's like.
Oh, I did.
A little bit. Yeah, I didn't know that they were actually doing that.
Right here at our convention center.
Awesome.
This is Mike's bright idea.
Those two cards and then we'll get in that one. That's the-
So, okay. Well, actually, Mike, if you want to tell the other departments about what we talked about and give them the posters and the cards?
You want me to?
Well, just in case, like Jerry said, if you guys finish early and everybody wants to skedaddle, and I'm still presenting it, so it's an issue.
Oh,
Oh, you're presenting somewhere else?
Oh, you are?
Down the hall.
Oh, well, good luck. That's more important than this.
there's four posters and motion lights going.
You're just-
He's got his Christmas lights on, he's bright as hell.
One each.
And they get in the passenger side, which is on the house side.
Phillips to that and Bridge.
Yeah, and like I said, there's motion lights
And
coming
then,
on.
and if
I'm
yes,
sure they took a Mustang.
you can give,
It was locked. Brandon.
here, check them out. He comes to these.
Go straight to
Does
the-
NPS come to these?
Jerry, I've got Gina here with me.
I thought you were on your way up there.
I was, but it was quicker for me to get stopped here and
We can make it there in 15. If we need to.
Hey, y'all are good. I got you. Yeah. Do have enough to really work on.
Okay.
It's firehouse.
He's half dead today.
How is it?
He's,
They ready for the holiday?
well, they want to, he does have to work. They got a guy coming up at 10:30 to fill that employment packet.
Yeah.
After that, he's going to Amarillo shopping.
Oh, okay. Hey, is Ellen instant? Where's Ellen?
I'm instant.
Are you instant?
He's in his office.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't hear what you said. You got out.
I've got your boots in my back seat. I'll come to Stinnett.
Actually, I'm coming to Borger after I get done with this.
Oh, even better.
Buy lunch.
Your boots will still be in the back seat when you get here, buddy.
Buying lunch. Huh.
It's us.
Not y'all.
No. Looks like the plant next door is on fire. It's just black. Just
Had two,
across town.
yesterday and the day before, they had two TCQ submissions.
Yeah, they should have one on Saturday too. They had a mission about like this Saturday.
Well, the saw was the sixth and set, or fifth and sixth.
I'm getting 15 million messages. Sorry, y'all.
And the rest of it. SO2, is that what they're in? Most of it?
Mostly.
Mostly
That's the big part of it. There is some other stuff mixed around there, but
CO, hydrogen sulfide.
that's awesome.
I live in French, bro.
I had experience in Car Black before I moved here. That's why I said I want
Yeah,
that
from
side of the plant at least 8 miles away.
United and Buena Vista, I try to hold my breath.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, my
From
car
from the
broke
guy
down,
who's
so I
gonna
tried
move when he
my big
retires.
That's gotta be a plan.
You're not building your retirement home here, so.
Can you hear us okay, Alan?
Yeah. Got out every now and then. I think we're okay.
Oh, this guy's parked in the wrong way. There's no rules. There's
No rules.
There's no rules.
You just park whichever way you want. Get your fire chief.
He's like, it's that one, isn't it?
Huh?
He said, it's that one, isn't it?
Who, Tim?
Yes.
No, we'll be over at 1. Are we live?
Yes.
Okay. We want to wait another minute, or are we ready to start?
I'm gonna go to Amarillo campus, so you can start.
Said you were here and you can get it rolling for us.
All right. All right, we'll call this meeting to order for LEPC on December 8th, 2022. Jerry, you've confirmed the presence of a quorum?
Yes.
All right, then we will move on to the orders of business. Starting with the approval of the minutes for the previous meeting, September 27th, 2022. Has everybody had a chance to look those over?
They were sent out on
Yeah.
the
On the
meeting that was
email.
canceled. So.
If anybody has looked them over, would we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Alan seconds, all in favor? Motion carries. Next item, financial report, Jerry?
Current bank balance is $30,858.59. We had one deposit, $3,000 contribution from Hutchinson County. And the only credit was the coordinator. Okay, that was it.
We need a motion to accept that, or
Just you.
we'll accept it as read.
As read.
Okay. We'll accept the financial report as presented. Moving on to the compliance report, Jerry?
We've had since last meeting, the 3 emissions reports from Phillips 66. Then on our deal we discussed last time with the Tokai and how that was going, and she had already mentioned it a little bit today, that we've been in a lot of conversations here recently at TCQ about this situation, myself and Jason Whistler with the city order. And roughly what we got from, when we were talking last time about sending out some sort of letter notification to organizations that didn't necessarily show up to LEPC or contributed to anything to reporting or knowledge of what's going on in some of the facilities. From sending out a notification, I've talked to TCQ, they said that we could send out a notification with the LEPC asking for some sort of a report or something that's going on that could affect public health or safety, but we cannot require them to give us any of that. So that was something that we needed to bring to the LEPC to say, in sending a letter to an agency that we don't really have any teeth to enforce anything. So that being said, what does this organization want to do? And it's kind of frustrating whenever we were talking to all these different people. The TCEQ, the requirement was 24 hours. You have to make this notification to TCEQ within 24 hours of a certain rate or whatever after a standard is set. So if it goes over this requirement, they have 24 hours to make this notification to TCEQ. My question was, how does that help the local the communities in getting that notification so we can pull the trigger on if it's a shelter in place or what we need to do, even if it's air monitoring ourselves. Do we need to provide our own air monitoring and all that? And that was their best recommendation, was if we're concerned about it, we need to look at putting up air monitoring equipment and making that notification ourselves and possibly even pushing them to say, hey, if you're not going to give us any information, we're going to collect our own information and put something out to the public. And that was, I think, out of all the conversations, was their recommendation as well. So we're looking at possibly either through budgets or grants or whatever we can do to possibly provide fire departments and some people with some air monitoring equipment. As far as knowing that we need to monitor these situations, it's really going to be on a site visible event, right? So some of these things aren't visible, so we're not going to really know until, like I said, we see something like that happen. We send somebody out there, do an air monitor, know that it meets a threshold, and we can make a public notification, but they're not required.
So if we looked at, I assume we should for the fire department, probably some mobile air monitoring. Have we also looked at some permanent stationary?
We've discussed both, but we actually had, we sat down, or when was that, Mike, 2 weeks ago? And I discussed a little bit about that situation. I think we discussed that the mobile setup would probably be better, because you're gonna have to look at installing a site, and then you're gonna have to look at maintaining the site. You're gonna have to look at some sort of communication, like a cell phone or whatever device that's gonna send that notification to us.
And then if your winds are the wrong direction, it's not hitting that.
Exactly, you gotta be in the right spot at the right time, right? So at least with portable devices on a truck, hey, we're getting some nauseous odors or whatever, we could send somebody out.
Sure.
And probably the police departments, I'm sure.
So y'all starting to identify some of that stuff?
Are you guys looking at sulfuric acid or just SO2?
Yeah, we were kind of, I think that's the SO2 was the worst. They, I guess Jerry deemed that, or Jason deemed that one, the worst one coming out of there. With the highest threshold,
The highest amount was the
SO2.
Yeah, because they have, and their threshold, their limits on their permit are like 10 times
Yeah, it was,
anybody else in town.
it was quite a bit higher than, but
And they were exceeding even those, were they not?
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
We're
So-
more worried about the sulfuric acid coming out of their scrubber stack.
Yeah.
Because that falls directly on them.
And being so close in proximity, y'all are gonna get the run of that.
Well,
Unfortunately.
we get the SO2 and the regular tail gas and stuff like that going through, but our biggest concern right now is the sulfuric acid that's coming out of the stack.
And do y'all have any monitoring out there?
I have 5 portable monitors. They're about 10 grand each. And the cartridges are anywhere from $300 to $700 to monitor for that, depending on if you're on a 30-day or 90-day. Plus you have to have a freezer to keep it in.
Good enough.
So,
Yeah.
I ordered a cheap upright freezer, a small one from Amazon for about $500. And it sits outside my office to keep all this stuff in, but yeah, we've invested a considerable amount for that.
Is it something that, since you do have the equipment and y'all do start to get readings that could be a health hazard, make that notification to us, since we can.
If it goes above our threshold, we've got threshold set at 50 parts per billion. That's when we do continuous monitoring. We'll deploy I can tell if you look at their stack doing some, what we call a method 9, the visual plume coming out of their stack, if it's gonna be high or not. But mostly what I get is I get a call saying, hey, it's coming across and people are coughing and moving out of the area, and we go out. So 50 parts per billion is where we start continuous monitoring. If we go over 250 parts per billion, we evacuate the plant upwind, but keep everybody on site. If it hits 750, we evacuate the area. All non-essential personnel evacuate the plant.
So how many times have we done any of the 3?
Continuous monitoring, we've done that a couple of times in the last 3 weeks.
Okay, but we've never hit
No, we've hit the evacuate everybody.
Oh, you have?
We have, that was
Okay.
earlier this year in March,
Oh, okay.
and PCQ was aware of it, they came out. I provided all of that information to them.
And then
Yeah.
still, we
Our
never
monitors-
received a notification of any of that.
Right.
Oh, no,
yeah.
they were saying, we don't have any problems. They were monitoring along their fence line. It
Right.
comes over the road
Yes.
right down into us and then across the canyon.
They're not gonna get it because the wind's carrying it your direction.
And their stack is high enough,
Yes.
it clears their fence line, so they're saying they don't have an issue.
Right.
But Laura Ballinger with TCEQ, I talked to her actually yesterday for quite a while. They were out last week doing monitoring of their stack.
Wonder if that's something next time they come, if we get a meeting, is as the LAPC, if we get a meeting with them, just kind of,
I could try to invite them to the meeting.
Okay.
next one we have.
that'd be great.
Just reach out to them. and see.
Just, extend that dialogue. Again, I know there's no requirement for the local, but I mean, even if we can just get, a better, them get a better understanding of what we're trying to do for our citizens, because again, if your plant has the monitoring and to evacuate, if the prevailing winds are not the normal direction and they shift, and now we're going to residential where there is no monitoring available and we don't have those. Are you all able to assist off-site with monitoring if somebody were to call and ask?
Yes, I
Okay.
will. I absolutely will.
Good to know.
I will, I have a monthly meeting with our CEO and the lawyers and everything. I'll clear it. I'll
Sure,
send an email to him and just clear it,
Please.
but I do off-site monitoring. If the plume is heavy enough and I can access it from a public road, because I'm not gonna go on and trespassing on anybody's
Sure.
property. If I access it from a public road, I'll go take it. I'll get results anyway. But with the wind the way it is, and as fast as it shifts, these monitors typically take 30 minutes to get an accurate reading. That's balanced out over time, but it will pick up spikes, and we go by spikes. If we have a spike, the monitor only goes to 750 parts per billion. The IDLH level is around 2,300 parts per billion, but because when we get to 750, people are having severe reaction anyway. If we hit peak on the monitors, we just assume that it's gonna go to IDLH levels and we evacuate everyone.
So that's something we might try to look at doing. And again, if they want to sit down and visit with, if they have additional questions for the LEPC after you ask them, of course, forward all that, we can coordinate through Jerry and then he can go through the committee and then we can, again, we could even sit down and visit with them, either teleconference or what have you. And more than likely, we'll end up with monitors of our own at some point, whether that's budgeted or grants, or even if we, as the LAPC look at something, if that's something that we need to possibly consider down the road, we can talk about that. So
Just the SO2 portable monitors, they're a few $100s. They're not expensive. When you get into the stationary monitors, they get expensive.
Yeah. Well, this is the only monitor I could find, portable monitor for sulfuric acid.
Oh, for the acid.
For the acid.
Yeah, I was talking
Oh, yeah.
SO2.
Yeah,
SO2 is
SO2s
cheap.
are, you
Yeah.
can get, we keep 4 gas monitors, we keep the MSA, the really good ones. And I ordered a few sensors to change some of them out.
Unless they're-
is that seeing dollar signs?
Okay, you gotta realize though, I gotta look for something that's gonna hold up the carbon black plant.
I'm just kidding. He's a salesman.
He's heading
I
out.
think
I am MSC.
He's a MSA salesman.
that's why you heard the yes.
I've been using it for 25 years, so.
Okay.
Get out, Sam.
Okay. But, yeah, but if you all call because there's issues or concerns, gladly I can go out and monitor, or I can show you guys and loan you a monitor for right now. I don't think there'll be any issue with that.
Since it sounds like you're gonna have a more of a heads up on a notification, you'll probably know before we do. If you even give me a call, that we can, at least I can make a call to Mike and we can, not necessarily like, respond or anything, but be ready in case something happens where we don't have the heads up now.
Yeah, no, we don't either. We've asked repeatedly if they have an issue, they pull a unit out, because usually it's they're doing a transition and it takes a little bit of time for them to adjust to it.
Yeah, but if you're able to collect data on your site that you have a unhealthy or a health hazard that's coming onto your plant where you're having to evacuate or shelter in place or whatever you're having to do, that means it could affect other people as well, and we'll make that call to the public.
What I noticed is because of the prevailing wind direction in the winter months and the cooler temperatures allow it to, it's when it settles in. Over the summer, we had a few incidents, but they were working real high on the new structure, which is where we noticed it first, but we've had ground level as well, and that's usually when the weather's cooler.
Like you said, it'll push it down when it's cooler and you'll
Right.
have more lift and when it's warmer, so
Right,
it may not be as
if
much
it
of an
lifts,
issue.
it dissipates,
Sure.
and it's not an issue anymore, but when it's pushing.
Especially if we get any kind of
incandescent.
precip in or anything like that, it's gonna push that even lower, so.
So this is I'll try to see if I can get TCQ and maybe try to get TDA in the same meeting together so they can point fingers at each other.
Sure. And then maybe somebody will be like, pull a grant out of a hat and we
Yeah,
can,
maybe
jump on
here's
that.
some money. Sorry.
yes,
Okay.
all right.
If you want Laura Ballinger's phone number, I can give it to you as well. She's the one actively working on this.
We can get that after the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll grab it.
That way we don't put it out. Anything else, any questions or follow up on the compliance report?
So the thing is, I think we probably need to research a little bit further because TCEQ is the one that's making these comments, and EPA is the one that has the requirement for LEPC. So we may have more bite than TCEQ thinks.
We have been, they said that, and I haven't been on the EPA side. Whistler actually talked to them. So we've been in contact with both organizations. And like I said, we're just trying to figure out the best way, and that's the way it seemed like that everybody was pointing to is you're able to collect your own data and then make that call with ourselves by collecting that data. And then eventually you're going to push them to start making some sort of notification because we're making it for them. Eventually they're going to want the right information. They're going to want to put some information out as well. So they will start contacting us.
Okay.
That's the way that people went with this.
Yes, I think the fact that there haven't been any ripples, I mean, everybody's just kind of, we know that there's visible emissions and everybody has just accepted that now that we're starting to dig a little deeper. And now that we know that there's a problem, and if we start making a little noise collectively, then that's, whether it's from a neighboring plant or, from the LAPC or even from the citizens, that's when we'll start to get that, like Alan, you said, with the EPA, we won't just be a blip on the radar. We'll be that annoying little
The squeaky wheel.
squeaky wheel. So.
Okay.
Just, and with that, is everybody aware that they put out a new permit amendment application last week at the county clerk's office and published a new notification in the newspaper yesterday for a different amendment for their scrubber and emissions? So public comment period started yesterday because that's when it was published in the paper. It's 30 or 45 days.
What's the process to go through that public comment then?
If you look at the
notice?
newspaper notice,
Okay.
it'll tell you who to contact, or you can look at the TCEQ website. There's a place where you can file comments.
And that's something that, Jerry, what we might want to do then, especially if we're limited to 30 days, is if we can get a copy of that paper and send it out to the LAPC, we may need to call, even if we just do a remote meeting or something along those lines. Because if we want to comment, and then by the time we meet again in January, if the public comment period's closed, then we'll miss our window.
You said it was an online comment? Like
There's an online site.
so you can submit something.
There's a portal that you go on an online comment.
So I can find the link to that, send it out to the LAPC members.
And what I'm wondering is since we have the compliance report already on the agenda, could we, but not specifically that report, could we pre-authorize the LAPC secretary to make a comment for the LAPC since it's generally covered in the agenda, or would we have to publish a new agenda specifically regarding this specific public comment? Opinions?
Because the compliance report is.
It's an agenda item and it was scheduled. And so I think because it came up from discussion through that we would probably be okay.
I think so. I mean, I don't see.
And we can do some more checking on that. So what I'll do then, since we're still on the compliance report, is I'll entertain a motion that, provided there are no conflicts or that violate any open meeting rules, that we would authorize the secretary of the LAPC to comment on our behalf regarding this new amendment or modification. So I'll entertain that motion if anybody would like to make it.
So moved.
I have a motion from Alan.
I'll say.
Mike second. All in favor?
Um,
All right. Moving on, Alan, you're back up. Right to know committee.
So nothing except the the 2022 reporting information. Believe they started that. I think I saw the email yesterday or day before. So 2022 reports, I believe they've got it open where we can start receiving those reports. Still be working through Jerry to be able to pull that information back from them so that we can update our Cameo. And then hopefully during the first part of the next year, maybe we can utilize some of that. And we can actually use that to build some drill scenarios.
And the email he's talking about is right here.
All right. Warren, is Warren on the call?
He's not. He's
Okay. We're moving on to Public Education Information Committee. Since Warren is out, let's kind of open the floor to any upcoming projects or public outreach events.
I do have one that was submitted to me by Pender. He's not here. But the Golden Plains Hospital is doing a health fair on May 19th at the Border Dome.
19th and 20th. Yeah.
And 20th, sorry. 19th and 20th at the Border Dome and he asked if LEPC was interested in having a safety fair in conjunction with a health fair. And have y'all talked about that, Joel? Or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, in fact, we went over to the dome yesterday, looked around. I think it's a win-win. And we went over our list from the last time we had a health fair. We had over 75 vendors. Yeah. So that's what we're shooting for this time. And why not do it all at once?
Yeah, I think that
Make a big deal over it.
Yeah. And that's what we've done in the past. Like I said, it's worked well having one event that we all team up on. And we can bring in apparatus, we can bring in industry partners if, if they want to do any kind of.
So the dome's
Safety.
already reserved.
Okay.
All we need is, if y'all want to do it, cool beans. We'll put it on the, save the date, and then we'll send out the formal invite to everybody that we're doing.
If we decide to do that, then we'll probably need to do what we've done in the past and form a committee for that. I think in the past, we've done at least a 2-person committee just to kind of spearhead that. We should have contact information that we could start with, at least from the previous fairs, if anybody's interested in. We don't necessarily have to have anybody volunteer today, but possibly communicate with Jerry if you're interested in volunteering for that committee to help chair the safety fair.
Right, and then get with the hospital and see what the LEPC needs to provide for the event as well. For last time, I think we had like bounce houses and we had the shows, they were doing extrication out in the parking lots.
Yeah, we want to do the full 9 yards. I mean, I think Department of Fire Department, we're gonna have Apollo. Shoot, anybody that we can think of as far as healthcare, we're sending that to.
We'll see about possibly trying to get, because I know hot dogs were a big hit before. I think we
I
had,
think we did
was it United that came and did that? So, that's a, do what?
Casco sponsor ones too.
Yeah, because I think our meeting times are gonna be, I think the first day is gonna be like 8:30 to 1:30.
8:30 to 1:30 and then 10:30 to 3:30.
This is a Friday, Saturday?
Friday, Saturday. We're hoping to catch some of the students from school and blah, 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 but yeah.
Well, that's what we might even do. If it's on a Friday, we could even, if we have enough time and depending on what the school district's willing to do, we could even see about bringing, a couple groups of the younger students through, kind of maybe even catering. We had the bounce houses and things like, kind of that younger education. If we've got the trailer, see if we can get them to come over, bus groups at a time and run through the
This is
fire trailer, smoke trailer.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure they need a
Free time.
Yeah.
Love free time.
Sure they need a
Filler.
field trip.
So that's something that we, like you said, we probably just need a little bit more of, like you said, an outline of what they want from us, whether it's time, effort, or sponsorship, and then we can put that on our agenda. Start to sound like we're probably gonna need a January meeting. Just on some of the stuff that we're looking at, being time sensitive. Anything else for public education?
Hey, Betsy, do you have a report on what we did on the smoke detectors?
Who's asking?
Betsy.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't get unmuted. We don't have a complete report yet, Alan, because we haven't received everything from all the fire departments. For instance, Borger hasn't turned in their paperwork, but we have done a great job as far as covering some of the local towns. I know that Zeb's department did, I think, 4, and your department did quite a few. Borger only had 7 addresses, so I'm not sure how well they did, but we can keep pushing it out, and we will all year, so that we can continue to make these communities safer.
I think probably part of the reason we probably only had that number in Borders, we've done that for quite a few years, so we've
Yeah,
got.
and we're still trying to get a hold of some of those people. They won't answer.
Yes, we've had that problem as well. That, nobody these days answers an unknown phone number. So that's been a real issue with everyone.
All right. If that's everything, then we'll move on to Hazardous Materials Facilities Liaison Committee. Mike.
I don't have anything to report.
Moving right along to Emergency Response and Resources Committee. Zeb?
Madison Casualty Drill's coming up January 19th at the Dome. Already got 90+ people registered for that, so be a great training opportunity for everybody.
And then
What was that?
What was that?
What was the training opportunity? I didn't quite hear that.
It's a mass casualty exercise. It was the one that had been previously scheduled. The new date is January 19th. We'll be doing that with TDEM and PRPC. It'll be a pretty big event. I think we've got like 100+.
There's 90 something.
95 participants already responded, and again, we're still a little over a month out, so we'd love to have industry partners, really anybody who can contribute and gain something. The last time we did a good size exercise, I think everybody took something away from it, some sort of knowledge that they gleaned.
What's nice is this is normally events like this it's an Amarillo kind of event with the new dome and the rooms that they have. Getting a regional event here where it's pretty awesome for us.
We also have January 12th. Fire department is doing a CPR training for city and county employees. Is that correct, Mike?
I think it's the 12th.
I know it's a 12, but it's for city and
City, county,
in surrounding cities.
it's surrounding cities.
So I know that we had to previously cancel because I think we only had a total of 2 people show up. I think we've got 3 registered now. So if anybody works for cities or the counties that are able to benefit from that, please contact either Jason Whistler or Jason Pinder. I think would probably be the best, and they can get them the Eventbrite sign up for that. Like I said, we'd love to have some more people. I think we're going to do heart saver, AED, and CPR, correct?
Yes.
So it's good training. There's I think a minimal cost to cover the cards, but do what?
$30. $30.
If you don't need the card, I think it's just $5 for the book. So if nothing else, come get a refresher. You never know when you might need to use that. Moving along, unfinished business.
You're on training? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we were on training.
Okay.
Do you have more?
I got one coming up. So January 28th, City of Borger is going to be hosting a Panhandle Firefighter Wilderness Event Marriage Encounter. We're bringing in Mike and Ann Gagliano, which is they're nationally known. Mike's nationally known in the fire service, so he teaches at FDIC all over the country. So we're fortunate enough to bring him into Borger. So he's going to teach 2 classes during the day to firefighters, and then him and his wife are going to do a class at night. It's going to be a fun date night on, I think her book's called Firefighter Marriage, Challenges of a Firefighter Marriage. So the only cost for the whole event is if you want to do the date night, it's $25 per couple for supper. And that includes, you got an option of steak, chicken, or vegetarian. So $25 is cheap for the meal. So I posted on Facebook today under the fire department's webpage or Facebook page. It's got a link to sign up. So if you want to do the Firefighter Marriage event at night, you need to sign up and pay the $25. If you just want to come to the other two classes, they're free. There's no sign up period for that. So it's gonna be a big day.
All right. So back to unfinished business. Anybody? No, that's great information. It's a great opportunity. Didn't hear any unfinished business, so we'll move along to new business. What's on the agenda so far is consider and or approve donation from P66 for the purpose of providing bulletproof vests to the Hudson County Sheriff's Office.
Well, I'll start off and then hopefully Tim got some more information for me here. So I guess what ended up happening was the sheriff's office is in need of some bulletproof vests. They have reached out, or Phillips had reached out to them and made or wanted to make a donation to the sheriff's office. Well, I guess due to some taxes, I don't know exactly why it doesn't go directly to the county, but they wanted to donate the money for the vest to the LAPC, and then the LAPC either buy the vest or donate the money to the county to buy the vest. So I'll pass it to Tim.
Or we keep the money.
Or we just keep the money.
We do have that option. We do have that option. I don't really want to get into messing up that good relationship we have with them, but
Yes, I talked to the sheriff the other day. He called me back, and so I sent him the email with our grant application on it, and told him what we decided we were going to do is LAPC will buy the vests and then turn them over to the sheriff's office, as opposed to taking that money, us taking the money and giving the sheriff's department money, and they got to earmark that to the county commissioners and all that. So Jerry and I had that discussion. It seemed like that would be a little more above board and just a little simpler process. So the sheriff was, I think one of his deputies is handling that. So he was gonna pass that information on to them and have them supposed to get email us back the quote they had and everything, so we can move forward.
The sheriff was here earlier and he had to leave to go take care of something. But if that's the way we look at going about this, is if Phillips donates the money to the LAPC, then it would be up to the committee here to agree to that payment or quote for that grant for the cost of the vest. And then the vest would end up going to the commissioner's court for a donation to the county for vests.
it's a lot of moving parts.
The commissioner's court would have to approve that. The vests.
So that's a lot of moving parts. Have we had any early conversations with the commissioners to see if they are open to that? I believe this was kind of a contentious issue already in front of the court. So I just want to make sure that they're open to, I don't want to cause any additional issues as the LAPC. If there was something already, being heavily involved in the budgetary process, I know that I think that was part of the issue. And so again, I don't want to jump in and make, any kind of, right. I don't want to, cause any issues with them if they have a process, if they're open to it. I think, obviously the committee as a whole would discuss it.
But I do know that, in remembering in court that one of the topics brought up was, can you look at seeing about getting grants for this?
Okay.
And I think that's why they pursued this, was to look for a grant for the vest. And I do believe Commissioner Brock is on the Zoom. If you have anything you'd like to say about that.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any problems with donations. It was just more of them getting a plan to get vests and to keep them from expiring all at once. And so if that's part of the plan, is to get some donations, that's on their office to get that. And I'm all for that as well. I can't speak on behalf of the court, but just for me personally, I'm okay with whatever route you guys see would be the best. If it has to come to the court, I would be for it. So I'm just speaking on behalf of me.
Commissioner Brock, you mentioned that they were expiring. Is that what they presented to the commissioner's court, that they were all expiring at the same time?
What he presented, and man, you need to call me Chris. Don't call me Chris Rock. Call me Chris. What they presented were that the vests were expired, and when we asked how far out, or the officer involved shooting that happened towards Pampa, asked if that vest was expired, he didn't know, but he said most of them were expired. So that was why it got kind of contentious, because I feel like they need to have a plan to keep our deputies safe, and so if the donation is part of that plan, I just want a plan to go forward and make sure we're aging them out appropriately and where our deputies are safe at all times.
Yeah, I fully support, like you said, keeping all everybody's on the street working safe. I know we've even gotten vests for our fire now because it's gotten dangerous, all first responders. I think one thing that, and obviously we'll open up the floor, but I think one thing that we should look at if we do make this donation is that we kind of not stipulate, but we say that encourage them to plan to start budgeting this going forward, and that this would likely only be a one-time donation for this item. Again, I understand that sometimes, especially with elected officials, sometimes inherent issues, and so there may not have been a pre-existing, but just kind of maybe just spell it out that when we do, if we make the donation, that we would like to see them every 3 to 5 years start doing 2 or 3 vests at a time, and stagger that way. It's
that's exactly what I spoke with Border PD, and that's how they do it, and that's how I think it should be done. So I do agree with that. I would also, I don't know if I'm speaking freely just for me as a commissioner, not telling you guys how to handle this donation, but they talked about getting custom fit vests for their deputies, and I don't know if I'm for that, because once they leave, sometimes they're out. I like the ideas of small, medium, large, just keep them in stock. If they want to have their own custom fit, they pay for it out of their pocket so they can take it with them if they go to another agency. I don't know how Border PD handles it, but the custom fit are a little bit more expensive, and obviously just fit whoever they measure.
Yeah, so it's been a few years since I've been involved in that directly, Chris, but what we've typically done is we would measure each individual to make sure they do fit as good as possible. That all the vital areas are covered. In years past, we have allowed officers, if they're leaving, the opportunity to purchase the vest. Again, because it is fit for them, and take it with them, and not every agency provides vests.
Right.
I don't know that, and I don't know who they're looking to go to, but I don't believe GT charges anything more for the measuring service. And I'm not positive on that, so I don't want to say, firm, but I believe that's just a service that they include. And then, with that, we could go with the general size, Chris. We could, absolutely do that. It may not fit as well. The other option is if you've got, most agencies have people of different sizes, and so typically you're going to get a good variation of sizing there if you do fit those. So I think that's something that we should consider, is if, or really, I guess it's up to, P66 if
P66 is donating the money for the buy vest. We don't care.
Okay, don't care if they're custom or not. Okay.
No,
Okay.
donate the money in it.
Okay. And so, if that's the case, then, we might be, from a safety perspective, Chris, it'd be better to have them custom fit for for being able to roll those to somebody that's replaced, maybe not. But then again, you might get somebody who replaces that person that fits that vest just fine.
That makes sense. Yeah, if you'll talk with him about it, because when he presented it to us, he did say that whatever they were going through would charge more. But if you guys have a different contact that might save some money and get some more vests as well, I'm all for that. But yeah, I just on the surface of just getting that donation and letting them get some of their vests, I'm for that. If y'all want to add that stipulation as far as like age them out, since y'all would be the ones kind of handling the money, I'd be on board with that too.
All right, let's,
Is it gonna be said when the grant's given, is LEPC giving the grant, or is it through Federal 66? Because if we open ourselves up to this, I'm not opposed to this,
right.
but we're gonna start getting, I need this.
Yes.
Border PD needs this, I need judge. We're gonna open ourselves to a lot more things we really shouldn't be buying anyway.
Correct.
Because we bought a lot of stuff that really doesn't fall into LEPC, hazmat.
And that's why I was.
So I know this is a grant coming through them, but I don't want everybody to get the idea this is coming from LEPC and not Phillips 66.
And that's why it was on the agenda, because it is kind of a sticky process. You know, we've gotten into that situation before where, you know, if we give somebody something that's kind of on the edge, then like you said, another agency will come and, well, what about us? Can we have some? And of course, we are the handoff agency, if you will. So, I mean, we aren't actually, but technically we are donating the money, because when the money is donated to the LAPC, they can request that we do that, but it's still ultimately up to the LAPC to decide to do that. Historically, we've respected the request of whoever's donating the money, and we've earmarked it for what they've asked, but
yeah,
also, like, again, it is up to the committee, and so it does kind of put us into an interesting
It's a great way to
situation.
help Phillips get the county their money. I don't care. I'm just saying we're opening ourselves up to a lot. If it doesn't say Phillips on it, it's donating the money somewhere.
Agreed.
Because we've gotten a lot.
And I
of
will say
requests.
this, I will say this, and I'll back out and let you guys talk. If y'all want to stay away from it and let the Phillips donate it to the county, I can't, like I said, I can't speak for the court, but I really don't see any issue from any commissioner or judge that would have a problem with making sure it got where it needed to be. So whatever you guys want to do, and I just wanted to say that, and I'll drop back out.
So I think the one reason why they were looking at LAPC going to a 501 organization instead of a government organization.
Gotcha.
For taxes, there's a difference. I don't give me.
Yes.
What the
It-
difference?
That actually makes a lot of sense for the donation standpoint.
It has to go to a 501c3, because if it goes to a 501c4, then that money gets put into a general fund and can be spent however the area sees fit. So that's the reason they push towards going to a 501c3, because it's for the specific purpose.
Yeah, it's for us, it boils down to.
It makes
So,
sense.
yeah, so we're doing this
You get taxed.
for the Phillips.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
I mean, we're not worried with.
Everybody still has to fill out an application to get donations.
Right.
I'm just saying we're gonna open ourselves up to
Yeah.
a lot more donations.
You know,
It really doesn't fit into the LAPC category.
right. I think the one thing that we could possibly fall back on, you know, because that's a very valid concern and something that's been discussed in the past, that if that donation is being earmarked from them for that, and if others wanted to go approach the various industry and have us be
We could do the same thing for
we
them.
could, absolutely. You know, because like I said, ultimately, we are not taking funds that we had in our bank account
Yeah.
and buying the vest. We're taking funds that were donated at the request of the donator for this purpose.
No, I'm good with doing it. I just voicing a
Yeah,
concern.
absolutely. That, and you're not the first one to voice that concern, so very
So-
valid.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the $12,000 grant from Phillips 66 for the purpose of purchasing, however you want to word it, bulletproof vest for Hutchinson County Sheriff's Department.
So can we make it specific on the motion, or do we just need to accept? Do we need to have the motion that we will accept the donation from P66 or Phillips? And their request is that it go to, I guess what I'm asking is do we have to make it slightly more general with the motion?
I would so on the, at minimum, what I need today is for Phillips, and this is what was relayed to me, is because of their budget ending, their budget cycle is different than ours. So we have to accept the money to the LAPC. How we do the grant application, because he actually didn't give me an application yet or anything.
Okay.
Or a quote or anything like that. I don't have any of that information.
And so if, and I guess that's, you know, if we don't get the application or what have you, for whatever reason, I mean, the money would still be going to the LAPC.
It would still be.
So I think what, maybe the motion that we entertain is that we accept the donation of $12,000 from P66, that we are cognizant that they have requested that be earmarked for vests, and the committee is agreeable, upon receipt of appropriate application, to consider that amount be used for the purpose of vests for the county. So I will entertain that motion.
Yeah, today we just need to be able to, we just need to set the motion to take the
Oh.
money for vests and then.
Say that again, Tim.
Did you have a question, Alan?
Say that again, Tim, because I didn't hear what you said.
Basically, today, we just need to have a motion and we need you to vote to accept the money into the LAPC with the intention of purchasing vests for the sheriff's office. We don't need to get the details of how we make that purchase today. We just need to accept the money, earmarking it for, as a donation, earmarking it for purchasing vests for Hutchinson County Sheriff.
That's my question.
That's the way I write. That's the way I worded my original motion.
It is, and yes, but my concern there was that, because I believe we had this issue come up with the freezer, is that we couldn't specifically say that we would accept the money just for the freezer. We had to say, if I'm remembering correctly, we said we'd accept the money and that we would plan to use, because again, what I don't want to happen is $12,000 to sit in our bank account forever because the sheriff's office doesn't fill out this application. And so,
Yeah, good point.
you know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, again, I think everybody here, as far as the committee, has enough respect for anybody that donated money that we would likely use it for what they've requested. I just don't want us painted in a corner where we've got $12,000 that we can never touch if for some reason they don't go through the application process.
So let me try this again. So I make the motion, we accept the $12,000 from Phillips with the, hang on, let me think just a second. Accept the $12,000 from Phillips, earmarked for vest, with the stipulation that a grant be completed on that within 6 months before, basically, if the grant's not, if they don't submit a grant 6 months stuff, then the money falls back to the LEPC. I don't know.
I can work with that.
Okay.
Because now we have that if then.
I'll second. Don't make me repeat.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion.
So,
Oh,
so you want just a little bit more? And
What was
it
that,
is
Alan?
if you want a little bit more, I'm going to bring one more thing up on new business. So the refinery has put in a new plant alarm system, and Chevron Phillips has poles of the old alarm system that we are interested in actually donating the sirens and the equipment to the LEPC for use within the county to combine, to expand our coverage area of emergency warning systems. The reason I bring this up is because we have some paperwork that we have to do on our side. And if we're interested in doing that, then I can move forward with that. Otherwise, the equipment will probably be thrown in the trash.
Yeah, I don't think we want to see it thrown in the trash.
No, and is this the same stuff?
So this, two plants used to share an alarm system. And then, so in the last probably 5 years, we've kind of split. So there's part of the old system in Allen's plant that's not used anymore. And then as we start taking our older system out, that's what you and I had discussed. I'd actually kind of overlooked Allen's.
What kind of cost are we thinking to install this stuff and make it compatible?
So what we would have to do to add it to our Commander One system, it's actually the Borders system, but we'd actually applied for a grant, a hazard mitigation grant several years ago, which ended up not going through, but And this was to try to get the entire county on one type of outdoor warning system. If we're able to get the sirens itself, the controllers are about $4,000 to $5,000 a piece, which is a lot more manageable compared to $25,000 to $30,000 for an entire unit. When they have this siren unit, and I believe their solar panels.
So what we have is the control boxes on the poles themselves they're basically no good. I mean, no good. I mean, they still work, but
But they're obsolete to this
that's a
system.
25-year-old system.
Yeah.
So the usable components, what we talked about, potentially have some good batteries. They could be used, the solar panels, and then the siren to raise up on the pole. Just the stuff that's usable in the county. When I visited with Jerry about this, we were gonna bring some of that stuff down over to a lay down yard and have him come out and look at it. Go, we want this, that stuff we don't want, then we can get rid of it. There's a lot of good usable components out there that would be tricky. I mean, I hate to see just discarded. That's what we'll do. We'll just throw it down.
Yeah, there's still a lot of rural areas that could absolutely benefit from that, for sure.
And the difficult part for us is getting the whole system linked together. Cause we got, 7 miles or so between here and Fridge and 10 between here and Stinnett. So getting the systems connected is the hard part. It's doable. We've already talked to Federal Signal about getting that done with the new controllers on the stuff. And it would save us a ton of money if we're able to use a lot of these.
Yeah. Yeah, you can spend some of that money that you're gonna spend on other parts and not buy speakers and buy more infrastructure.
So is this something that y'all won't put a time on that we have to have it installed by, but
No,
LEPC will know that it's there and that they can adapt it to.
Yeah, so
It's not like for the LPC to get it, then say Fridge, we need to replace stuff in Fridge and Stinnett and even in the county, because we actually have one siren in the county that's literally there was another one that was put inside the city of Fridge, but real kind of close to it, but the siren hasn't worked since the Fridge tornado, so.
So we can use it for repairs within the county, not necessarily new install.
yeah,
Okay.
basically whatever you guys want, whatever they're needed for.
So basically the whole thing with this was actually to be able to give the equipment to the LEPC to be able to utilize what they could. I've written a work order to actually start pulling them down. And when they pull them down, they're supposed to keep everything intact and together. That way, each piece, basically each siren that we have out there will be together. And the control boards in there are no good. However, it does have the solar panels. It will have the sirens. It will have the speakers. It'll have all of the stuff that makes the siren a siren. It just doesn't have the control to activate.
Now, Alan, if the LAPC accepts this, would we need to come pick all of this up and store it somewhere?
I'm sure that we would probably, the reason I'm saying that is because I have paperwork that I have to do up front, and it may be as it comes down. I've got a place to keep some stuff. It's just I need to be able to say, yes, we will provide it out.
Okay. Move on this today, or do we need to put it on an agenda?
It's not on the agenda. So we would, I
So
can
we
add it to the
would need
next one.
to add it to the next agenda. Alan, when do you need an answer by?
I just wanted to bring it up so that we could actually, if I need to, I can bring paperwork and see what it is we need to complete in the paperwork so that we can get that taken care of.
Okay, so we just need to put that on our next agenda then.
Yes.
Okay. Make a note to add that to the next agenda. Very good. All right, any other new business? All right, next meeting date.
We need to do it in January or? we want to-
I think we probably do in January because one thing we talked about earlier is there's a current period open for open comments out here at the plant for a modification that they've done for additional emissions. And so we've pre-authorized the secretary to make public comment on behalf of the LAPC. So depending on if it's, whether the secretary will find out if it's 4 or 6 weeks that they will be open for public comment. So we discussed possibly meeting again before that public comment closes. Now, again, if it's 4 weeks, I don't think that'll be possible because with holidays, which I'll leave my comment about why they may have scheduled this time of year, but which is why we pre-authorized him to make public comments for the LAPC.
And also to get something rolling with the safety fair.
Yeah, and the safety fair, so
We may have something on the best by then too.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, if we could do January, if everybody's free, that'd be, I think, optimal.
So do we need to do it earlier in January because of that public hearing or 17?
I mean, if it was posted yesterday, if it's 30 days, then we're talking the first week of January, and I just don't know that that's doable for most people. I mean, you're talking, the county's probably closed the second, aren't they? So, I mean, you're talking the first day back of the first of the year, that'd be the 3rd.
I mean, I'm available. but I'm available. What are the-
I am too, yeah. I mean, I guess we could schedule it for the 3rd, and then if we have 6 weeks on public comments, we could move it to the,
10th or the 17th.
you said it was yesterday, right, when that was published?
Yesterday, I think it's 45 days.
You think it's 40, is that calendar
I
days?
think it's 45 calendar days, yes. But my thinking that it's 45, it could be, so it depends on the type of permit. Sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 45.
We can plan for the 3rd, then if we find out we have more time, we can.
Yeah.
It's easy to vote.
Exactly. So we want to do that, Jerry, we can plan for the 3rd, and then if we have 45 days, we can do it the 17th. And again, we don't necessarily have to meet even if the public comments close unless we want to do something very specific.
Yeah.
Because we've given him the go ahead to draft something.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, let me do that.
All right, have a motion, second,
I never listen.
have a second, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
So adjourned.
Deb, I'm headed to Borger right now, so.
Never listen to you.
I gave Mark some bad information.
Yeah. I said, I'll see you at noon. He goes, oh, no, I moved to one.
Who said that?
That guy.
Yeah, I was like, are you showing up today? He's like,
He called me this morning. to tell me it was a-
Oh, I'm telling you. No, I was looking at it, I was like, sure, I didn't screw it up.
The comments was the changes, just the additional constituents.
Some bills things on the, whenever I registered it, I gave it to him.
So